Hello and welcome to Football League World TV. This is the Ipswich Town fan Takeover show. My name's Ned Holmes. I'm a writer from Football League World TV, and I'm joined by the Cruncher from Talking Town and Henry from Pheonix Talks. How are you doing this morning, gents? Henry?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well indeed, especially after last night. Much better.
Absolutely. And you, the Cruncher, a longish drive, you were saying, but you fly back.
Tied back. Got home at 2, up at 8. So, but when you win, it don't really matter, does it?
Absolutely. Well, before we get started, just a reminder for everyone to subscribe to the Football League World TV channel on YouTube if you haven't already. And of course, this is the fan takeover show. So we want to hear your thoughts, your comments, your questions. Ipswich fan, get involved via the comments. And we'll kick things off by focusing on last night's impressive win over Wycombe. Arguably the performance of the season then for Ipswich, coming back from 1 down to beat Wycombe 4-1 at Adams Park, end their sort of long, impressive run. A brace from Burton, Selina, 1 for Macaulay Bonne, take him to 11 in the league for the season, and 1 for Wes Burns. You were there last night, the Cruncher. What are your sort of reflections on the game?
Look, you know what you're getting when you go to Wycombe. Real tough place to go. Ugly football. You know you're getting a lot of long balls, a lot of high balls. You got to win your battles, and it was a funny sort of the first half. I'd call it a game of 2 halves because for the first 20 minutes they were on top, and we were really struggling. And they obviously scored the goal. We had Hayden Coulson, our left back, had to go off injured, so they brought Cameron Burgess on, who's normally a centre half, and he played left back, and he done really well last night. And I think he sort of helped because he's a big, tall lad, and they put a lot of balls in the box. But we scored at the right time. The goal. It was really our first attempt on target. First shot in the game, and it's gone in the net. And then second half, you come out, you're thinking, let's not do what we done at Plymouth on Saturday. Give them a foothold in the game, and yeah, we got them 2 goals. Then we had they had a bit of pressure. Then it's pinging about round in our box. There's a really good clip going on the socials if you've seen it. It's literally. Pinball in our box. It was down the other end, so we couldn't really see. Cleared off the line, but then obviously Selina's got the goal at the end, the breakaway from the halfway line, and then his shirt's off again, waving it around his head, and we're all happy. We're all dancing. We're up to 9th in the table, and fantastic evening. It's always great, when you go away and then you're travelling home with the 3 points, and it might be a long journey, but it's well worth it.
Absolutely, and Henry, coming to you, I mean, the weekend, a fairly impressive performance against Plymouth, but came away with nothing. And there's been a lot of talk about the club's record, a poor record against top 10 sides recently. Obviously, a lot of that goes back to before Paul Cook was there. But do you think that poor record makes last night's win something of a statement for Ipswich?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, echo the Cruncher, absolutely. What a night. I'm actually very jealous of the lads that were there. Looked like a hell of an atmosphere. But very much to your point, before Cook arrived, Lambert's era, playing teams. I remember the game against Hull at home, didn't even lay a glove on them really. Sunderland at home didn't lay a glove on them, and those are the guys that were top of the league at the time. And Cook's, give credit to him, the performance against Plymouth was much better. Result obviously not quite there, but again, performance last night and the result was there at the same time. We had the same against Portsmouth a couple of weeks ago. Again, there was a struggle. Fratton Park was a struggle for us in previous years, and the performance was there, and the result was there. So, first of all, you got to take the performance, and that's great, and the result comes with the performance. So, Cook's getting both of them together at the same time, which is obviously key, and to get back up the table. But also, we're doing it against the big club or bigger clubs in the league. So, yeah, absolutely a positive, and hope long may it continue, especially these next 3 league games.
Absolutely, and coming back to you, the Cruncher, that's 4 wins in 6 League One games for Ipswich now. There was obviously a difficult start to the season to be expected with the squad turnover and stuff like that. But do you think things are really starting to click for this squad under Paul Cook?
Yeah, I think if you look at the last 10 games, I think we're averaging 2 points a game. So, like they say, don't you? If you go through the season doing that, it is the slow start has hampered us a little bit. Because it's not left us a lot of wriggle room, because them games early, we had Morecambe, Cheltenham. You probably expect to win them. But then you do have to look, we had a massive overhaul, didn't we, in the summer, Henry, of 19 players, coming in, new backroom staff, new coaches. And it's not as simple as you go on that field and you're gonna just roll over the opposition. Paul Cook talked a lot about repetition, about partnerships, and it's starting to come now, and it's bearing fruit. But and it's nice to go like you said to Wycombe last night. We've not had a great record against these top 6 teams, and that was a really real statement. I think people of other clubs will take a look this morning or last night and think, yeah, Ipswich are going to be there at the end of the season. You know, we're scoring goals for fun. I think 34 goals now in 16 games. If we can, I was talking to some fans around us last night. If we can keep the back door shut, which it's been a bit of Achilles' heel so far this season, look, we'll blow teams away. There will not be a lot of teams be able to live with us going forward. It's just, can we cut out them mistakes defensively, like we see on Saturday, Matt Penny switching off at the far post 2 minutes before half time. Little things like that. It's the small margins what we've got to cut out. And if we do that, we'll be there or thereabouts come into the season.
Absolutely. And as you said, you know, up to 9th in the table now. I think it's 23 points, 6 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses from 16 games. Henry, 4 points back from the top 6 after that shaky start to the season. And there were times, I guess, in the first few months when some supporters were really questioning whether Paul Cook was the right man for the job. Do you think he's cemented his place and convinced the Ipswich fan base now that he is the right man to take you guys up?
I 100% think so. Like, there's no. I personally don't think there's a better League One manager who's. It's a struggle because you hear what he says, and we've had it from different managers in the past. Talk the right game, but it never happens on the field. And what I'm enjoying seeing is that the players are sort of echoing Cook's reasoning and speeches off the pitch, essentially. Consistency, like the Cruncher said, performance for 90 minutes, intensity. Getting at the ball, getting at the other team, winning the individual battles, but winning the second balls. And again, Lambert talked about it the whole time, but never happened. And again, the performances that Cook is getting out of the team is far superior to what we've had at the end of the McCarthy era, the Hurst era, the Lambert is far superior, absolutely far superior. So I do think he is the right man for the job. But like the Cruncher said, 19 players in, 22 out, I think it was. And also another positive is that there's no runaway leader at the moment. Wigan are top, but again, they were 2-0 down against Fleetwood yesterday. Sunderland were considered favourites right at the start. They've lost 2 on the bounce, conceding 9, I think. And then Plymouth are a bit of the surprise package. But again, on another day, we could have been 3-1 up at half time if we took our chances. So to answer your question, I do like Cook. My expectations have pretty much stayed the same. Minimum playoffs. Anything else is a bonus because, like you said, 19 players coming in. It's not going to be easy for any of them. And I think he's getting himself settled into the Suffolk area as well. So I think he's the right man for the job, essentially. Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, we're going to go back to that busy summer in a second. But before that, just a reminder for everyone watching, you know, this is the Ipswich Fan Takeover show. So get your questions in for me, Henry and the Cruncher. Taking you right back to the summer then, obviously a busy one for Ipswich, following the takeover, the arrival of Mark Ashton from Bristol City. You know, I think, as you were saying, 19 players in, 22 out. Starting with you, Henry, looking at those sort of transfers, who is it that's impressed you most? And are there any players that disappointed you a little?
So just to really, really briefly touch on the renaissance or donaissance of Yana Donasian, superb. Like, the man was given not really a chance initially under Lambert, considered a centre-back when he was actually a right-back, sent out on loan. He's come back in, an absolute cult hero in the Ipswich fans. So that's a big shout-out to him. In terms of the 3, I've narrowed it down to 3. And I think it's the spine, and hopefully will be a spine of our team going forward. So you've got Edmondson at the back, Maudsley just in the midfield, and then Bonne up front. If we keep that core fit and working together throughout the season, I think we've got a really, really good opportunity going up. Edmondson is an absolute class centre-back for League One. He's far too good for the stand he's playing at. Comfortable on the ball, in the air, strong in the air. And he barks orders, which I quite like, and I haven't seen from centre-back for a while. The years of Christoph Behr at the back, winning the balls and getting ready, but never as good on the floor. So Edmondson's class. Morsey in the midfield is what we've been needing, and a tenacious midfielder. Again, sort of a leader on the pitch. I've said it before. He's kind of Cook's ally on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Cook obviously trusts him, taking him from nearly every club he's been at. And then Bonne up front, he's living every Ipswich kid's dream, scoring goals for your childhood club. Again, if the owners have got any sense, that get your money in early in January for Bonne, because those three in the centre of the team going forward for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I think would be really, really good for Ipswich. A couple of other standouts. Burns, first signing, thought great stuff to start with, and also his directness and his pace is fantastic, and he's adding goals to his game, which is great. Selena and Chaplin battling out for the number 10. That's sort of a competition you expect to see in the Championship. And Walton, again, showing his class in the last couple of games, especially. Disappointingly, on the other side, it's a bit of a mixed bag, because it's disappointing maybe for them, but it's difficult to get back in the team because the team is picking up form. So, and I think Cook's starting to slowly establish his starting 11. So the likes of Fraser, for example, absolutely, you can't doubt his class on the ball when given time and space. However, sometimes I think his physicality maybe, or his intensity that he plays at, may not match what Cook's looking for, but you cannot doubt his class. And at the start of the season, he looked like a fantastic signing, but then maybe dip in form, or players picking up form, he's dropped out of the scene slightly. Harper, again, since Morsey coming in, hasn't been given as many opportunities, and he's played in the more advanced role. But again, you can't really be dropping Morsey or Evans for that position, or Chaplin up top. And then Piggott, I think he'll be gutted that he's not starting up front. So at the start of the season, he thought he's probably been coming in starting our number 9. But you can't drop Bonne, essentially. So they've been, I say, disappointing. They're great signings, and I wouldn't want them not in the club, but I think they'd be disappointed that they're not getting more game time, essentially.
Absolutely. And coming to you then, the Cruncher, I guess who were the players that have impressed you the most that arrived, and who are the ones that you're hoping to see more from?
It's hard to disagree with Henry. He's nailed it, with the spine of the team. Edmondson, I think he gets better every game. He's last night. I'll give him a 9. I've done some ratings for the show. I describe him as a Rolls Royce defender. And it's nice to, like you say, Henry. You've got someone there who actually talks, barks out orders. When I went to Cambridge away, I think the Halaki was the goalkeeper, and he came out and made a bit of a mess, and he gave him a right volley. And I thought, I like that. It's what you need. Sam Morsey, quality player. We've got players now that we haven't had for years, that they are too good for this division, and they've only really dropped down because of the manager.
True.
You've got him, you've got Connor Chaplin, another one dropped down from Barnsley. These are Championship players playing in League One, so really they want to get out and get back to where they should be playing. Macaulay Bonne. It's a shame. Joe Piggott came in. When he came in, surely he must have known the system that Cook played, because he's played it wherever he goes. 4-2-3-1. There was only going to be one striker's spot up for grabs. He played them a couple of times, didn't he, together, I think, like Cheltenham away. And he sort of played Piggott sort of off the main striker, which, for me, that's not his game. We see what he done last season for AFC Wimbledon. In the penalty area, will score goals. Yeah. So it's a real shame for him. I think he'll probably... We got Oldham Saturday in the FA Cup, and then Papa John's next Tuesday, Colchester. You can have some chances there for sort of players like Piggott, Fraser, Harper, some of the ones who haven't really I'm not saying they haven't shown. We've got an embarrassment of riches, Henry, at the minute, haven't we? Where last season there was games there. I think we went the last 10 games. There were 6 of them with goalless draws. I was falling asleep watching it on iFollow. It was so boring. And then now you've got players who can't even get in the squad. One player I would say who's been a real surprise, but I did say when he signed, I thought that was a really astute signing, is Sonny Aluko.
Yeah.
He came in. I'll see him in the first game against Newport at home. He was dreadful. The first 45 minutes. But you have to take into consideration, he had been at Derby, I think, on trial. What was his fitness like? And he's come back now the last few weeks. I know he didn't start Saturday because he was injured. He'd come on last night near the end. He could prove to be a real good, astute signing, that he's got the experience. He's not going to start every week, but what we need to realise is not that long ago, he was going for £7 million, playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
This is not the quality we got. So, yeah, Scott Fraser's, he's been a disappointment to me. He came, I know some MK Dons fans, they said, look, you've got a class player there, best 10 in the division, and he's not really played in the 10, has he? He's had him out on the left. I think he's a really good footballer. I do agree with you. He does lack a little bit of physicality, maybe. I wouldn't say he's lazy, but I think we've cooked the football that he wants to play. You know, you want pace, power. Another one who's disappointed me a little bit. He played quite well last night is Kyle Edwards. Got a lot of skill, you know, undoubted ability, end product at the minute. He did have a hand in the second goal last night, but he's young, he can learn.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. And it's just an embarrassment of riches. We've got so many players, and we're probably going to talk about him. Louis Barry can't even get in the squad.
Absolutely. I mean, you touched on it a bit there, but you do look at the number of players in the squad that you think could be playing at championship level easily, and it's certainly a positive that, you know, even if you don't got this year, maybe you got next year, you certainly will seem to have that sort of framework of a championship level squad. As you mentioned, they're the countries. Louis Barry, you know, he was someone that arrived, big reputation at Aston Villa, you know, West Brom to Barcelona to Aston Villa, the goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Things haven't quite gone right for him. The country, what would you put that down to? Is it just that embarrassment of riches, or do you think he's just maybe not quite ready for senior football?
I wouldn't say he's not ready. I just don't think he's really had much of a chance. He played away. I went to Burton. He played away there. Didn't really get in the game. He did get brought down for a penalty. He's got undoubted ability. We know that. But like the loan moves, I've said before, like obviously Aston Villa sent him out to get first team football. Now it's all about these young players going to a club and playing football. It's all right him coming there, training with good players. He's not really learning. So I would have thought in January he'll get recalled. I can't see him staying at Town, and that will be for his benefit. You know, go to another team, play week in, week out. We've got players out on loan, haven't we? And we've got Corey and Darber. He's at Salford playing every week. We got the guy Simpson at Swindon scoring goals. Dobber at Colchester. He's another one for me who's probably gone there. I know he scored Saturday, which was his first goal in the league. He's not really played enough. So it's all about these young players. When they're sent out on loan, it's got to be the right club for them to learn. But Barry, look, undoubted ability. You don't get picked up by Barcelona at a young age by not being good. So I just wish him the best for the future, and hopefully he'll have a good career.
Absolutely. Well, next we'll move on to sort of the January transfer window and what you guys would like to see. Before that, just a reminder, guys, to get your comments and questions in. I mean, it was obviously, as we touched on, a very busy summer window, Henry. But looking ahead to January, do you think there's still parts of the squad that need to be added to it? And if so, what would you like to see done?
I did similar to the Cruncher said. It's embarrassment of riches. I did a bit of stuff on Twitter going through the players and the positions, and we generally had two very good options for every position. So the only position, left back, potentially could be an area of improvement. Coulson looks the part, absolutely. Going forward, looks fantastic. His injury prone, like we saw last night, it was a 50-50 challenge, but he came off a much worse, and I don't think it was quite 50-50 either. But we do have Burgess who then came in and looked solid at the left back. Penny, for me, maybe the last few games has dropped form again, but it's the lack of concentration for conceding the goal at the back post. And there's a few times where you think get on and push on a bit further, but he just hasn't quite come up with the goods quite yet. In comparison, I'd have Coulson starting, but he keeps getting injured, and he started injured with a COVID problem, then had his ankle problem, and again maybe picked up another injury, hopefully not long term, but last night. So in January, if that's still the case, another left back maybe. But again, the other night or Saturday, we had Kane Vincent-Young and Donatian out injured, and we had to have Wolfenden play right back because Burns wasn't available to play there either. But we still have a senior player filling in after 3 unavailability to fill one position. That shows the depth that we have across the back line, but also across the midfield for the players that can't get in not just on the sub bench, but can't get even in the 18. You've got Norwood, who's a bit of an enigma now. Those types of players are out, and Dobler, like you said, the cruncher, he's been sent on loan to Colchester, but I'm sure he would have been on the bench if not. And if you compare it to what the benches we had last year, it's genuinely laughable how different the quality of team we have or the squad we have now in comparison. So to answer your question, left back potentially, or if no other injuries, I think we'll be all right.
Absolutely. And moving to the crunch, Henry touched on it briefly. Macaulay Bonne, that's a situation in January that Ipswich fans will be keeping an eye on, if not worried about. Obviously, QPR are doing well themselves, that they've got some really strong options. Would you say that wrapping up the situation with Bonne should really be Ipswich's top priority?
Yeah, I do agree with Henry there. Maybe a left back. I can't really see it. Maybe a holding midfielder because you've got Morsey and Evans possibly on loan. It all depends, doesn't it? Because you might want these players, but if they're not going to come in and be first choice, they might not want to come and sit on the bench. They might want to play football somewhere else. Bonne is the one that you want to get wrapped up. But Bonne will want to play in the Championship. I know. Look, he's a Town fan. I do get that. He's like me and Henry. We'd love to be playing, scoring goals. Football's a very short career, and you want to probably play at the highest level. So if I was him, I would be saying to my agent, let's just sit tight, see where we are in the summer. Look, I would love to sign him. Don't get me wrong. I'm just thinking it from his agent's point of view. But he's not our player. We need to know that. And maybe in January, you could have some teams that are struggling down the bottom of the Championship looking for a goal scorer, because goal scorers, they don't grow on trees. They'll be thinking, Macaulay Bonne, I'll give QPR a little ring, because I don't know what the clause is in his contract. Have we got him for a season? Can he be recalled in January? I'm not sure about that. But if I was a manager of another team and I wanted a goal scorer, I'd be thinking, he might be worth a punt on loan. But look, Mark Ashton, he's got some signings down here that probably me and Henry never. Would you ever think Burson Selina will be playing in the third tier? Sam Morty, people like that. So hopefully, wouldn't it be great if you wake up on Christmas Day, Henry, and on the Town Twitter feed, there it is, Macaulay Bonne unwrapped and he's signed a 3-year deal. That'd be fantastic.
Well, I'm sure that would be the Christmas wish of all Ipswich fans, really. And I'm sure as well, all Ipswich fans would be sort of hoping to head into that January period with a nice sort of exciting FA Cup tie lined up at the start of January. And we're going to talk about the FA Cup next. Ipswich host Oldham then on the weekend at Portman Road in the FA Cup. Henry, coming to you first. What sort of team would you like to see Paul Cook name? A strong one, obviously it's Colchester and the Papa John's Trophy afterwards, so maybe he doesn't have to worry too much about rotation. Yeah,
no, definitely. And again, Crunch's point earlier, it could be the chance. The second string, if you will, 11 is it's pretty stronger than our last year's 11. So the guys like a Piggott, given a chance up top. He scored quite a few times since he's coming on, scored in the Papa John Trophy when given a chance. And what also is quite nice is Cook reflects that sort of form into his starting 11 in the league. You saw Chaplin get given a chance a couple of times in the Papa John, scored, and now he's our starting number 10 and has taken that opportunity. So for the likes of Fraser wanting to get back in the fold, like I said, Piggott again, Wolfenden starting at centre-back. Sometimes the position next to Edmondson is up for grabs, I think. Is more up for grabs than Edmondson's position, essentially. So you've got the likes of those coming in. Mizuni, the young lad, again, a guy that I thought was cast adrift, has started a few games and looked pretty solid next to Morsey. He could be given a chance. Harper hopefully given a chance. These guys getting a bit more match fit would be great. No, I think I wouldn't want wholesale changes, but I want a few of those guys, maybe 4 or 5 brought in to be given a chance, and then and then Papa John Trophy, you can maybe change it again to be fresh for the next league game against Oxford next weekend.
Absolutely, and coming to you then, the Crunchy, Do you think Ipswich Town fans will be looking at
Dogs are big fans of the FA Cup, by the way. Can hear him barking.
Do you think Ipswich fans that you'll be looking at the FA Cup this season and thinking, it's a little bit of a distraction on top of the EFL Cup as well? Or do you think they'll see it as a chance, a nice little cup run, some positivity and a chance to give some of those second string players a real go?
It's sad in a way, because you think it shows where we are as a football club, that we are in the first round of the FA Cup. We've got a great history. Obviously, we won it in '78 at Wembley. Look, I'd like a cup run. Cookie touched on it the other week. He said he'd love to see us in the third round with Norwich at home, packed Portman Road. Wouldn't that be great? It really would, because we haven't beaten them for a while. But Saturdays, it's a bit of a strange one, because obviously, if the players who played last night, if they don't play Saturday, they're not going to play Tuesday. That's the time when I think he'll change the whole 11, I would have thought then. And then they'll have a week and a half until the Oxford game, Saturday week, without a game. So, but it is a hard one, because do you play some of them? You risk maybe an injury, but then you could say they could get injured in training, because we seem to have rectified that, Henry. Them trainings in injuries in training, because it always used to be on a Friday morning when Cook done his press conference, or Lambert. It was like, who's got injured in training this week? So I would go fairly strong. I wouldn't change the whole 11. I'd change a few. Piggott, I think he needs to play some football, because, like I said about Macaulay Bonne there, you don't know in January what happens if he gets recalled, someone else tries to sign him. Yeah, we're going to need Joe Piggott, So to get some minutes in his legs, I'd play him Saturday, Tuesday, see where you are. And I do agree with you, like Connor Chaplin played in that game at Gillingham, didn't he, in the Papa John, scored. And then look at him, he's gone off on a run. He'd scored, I think, 5 in 9. So, yeah, I just hope Saturday we get a decent crowd down there. Oldham, they'll probably bring a few. They're not having the best of times at the minute, which is unfortunate to them. But, yeah, let's have a decent performance, another victory, and then hopefully another decent tie in the second round. And I think winning games breeds confidence, I know a lot of people say, don't worry about the cups. We haven't had a great record in the FA Cup or all cups for quite a few years. So wouldn't it be nice if we could get a few rounds and bring a bit of excitement? Wouldn't it be great if we got a Premier League team at home in the third round?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I heard the other day that Ipswich, if you put together the last 10 years of the cup or something like that, Ipswich have got among the worst records in the FA Cup. So that'd be nice to change that. And just before we go, then I'm just going to get some predictions from you guys. Well, not predictions, rather expectations. I'm assuming after the big money was spent in the summer, you were both sort of looking at that top two, if not the top place. Coming to you first, Henry, what were your expectations then, and have they changed now?
My heart says we should be winning the league at a canter.
Yeah.
But my head and the realist in me, 19 new players, 22 gone, big players gone as well, like Chambo, Scoos, those big characters. You're setting up a whole new changing room. So a minimum for me was playoffs. And I still think the minimum for me is being in amongst the playoffs. And again, like I said, there's no runaway leader at the moment. If we in the next 3 games, Oxford, Sunderland, and Rotherham, if we get, I don't know, a couple of wins out of that, we're pushing ourselves back into the playoffs, closer to those automatic spots. So playoffs at a minimum, automatic promotion would be fantastic. And champions would be even better, but I'm not being greedy, so I'd go automatic promotion. But again, playoffs is a minimum.
And same question to you then, the Crunch. What was that expectation, I guess, before the first game of the season, and has that changed now?
We had a prediction show, and I did predict Charlton would win the league, so that's going well at the minute, isn't it? I had us down as third, but then I do agree with Henry there. Your heart does sometimes, or your head runs away with you. So yeah, I just think at the minute it's all about building. And I know I was talking to some friends the other day. I don't know what you think, Henry. If social media had been around in the days of George Burley, George wouldn't have probably survived, because there were several times under him where I think one season, I think it was 97, 98, we were about third bottom in about October time. And then we went 20 odd games on the run without losing. So expectations now, everyone's a manager, everyone's a coach, everyone's got an opinion. So it's hard. I know managers will say, I don't look at social media. I don't read the papers. They will. Yeah. They're human beings. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, if it took another season I'm probably going to defate a lot of Town fans who are probably watching this. If it took another season in this league to build a team this season to smash the league next season and win it, I could take that. I know a lot of people won't. They'll say this season, promotion, that is the minimum. We've got to get out of this league. And I do understand that, because with all these new players, when you have one of the owners saying, have mercy on League One, that piles the pressure massively on the manager for me.
Yeah.
You know? But I think at the minute, the way we're going, if we get a couple of wins in them next 2 or 3 games, look, we're getting 20,000 down at Portman Road at the minute, and we haven't even got started. The excitement's building. You go to the away games, sold out away ends. Like I said earlier, if we play like we did last night, there won't be many teams in this league capable of holding us. It's all about consistency, you know, getting on that run, getting that snowball effect. And once you get on that, look at Blackpool last season. Look at Bolton in League Two. Look, Bolton were where were they? 19th in about end of January, February time. They went on a magnificent run. That can be us. We've got good enough players. It's all about, you've got to be consistent, hopefully lucky with injuries, because I know we've got a good squad, but there'll be certain, like you said, that spine of the team. You want your Morseys, you want your Edmondsons, you want your Bonds fit for most of the season. If we got one of them or a couple of them out, we would miss them. If it come to January and a couple of them were injured, we would have the funds where a lot of other teams wouldn't have that luxury of signing players. But I think I'll take the playoffs. We're one of the only, I think it's 5 or 6 teams, Ned, who've not played at the new Wembley, and we're one of them. So it'd be magnificent in May to go there, win the playoffs. Maybe we could go there in April in the Papa John's and do the double.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of positivity then to finish on. Henry, the Cruncher, thanks so much for talking to me. Make sure you, if you're an Ipswich fan town or not, make sure you check out Talking Towns. It's some absolutely brilliant stuff. And make sure you follow Henry at Pheonix Talks 07 on Twitter. Thank you both very much. And thanks everyone for watching.